welcome to the NFL playoffs Imperialism style. Because what's the fun in doing a bracket that determined the Super Bowl 59 winner? Now, if we were doing geographical location, this would be the map, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this is completely unbalanced. I mean, look how many teams are in the northeast of the United States of America. 8 teams in total. That's over half of the playoff teams. So to make it more fair, the rig is back. A long-awaited return, aka 5 days ago, which is a randomizer program which will generate a state for each playoff team today. So the Vikings are going to Kansas, the Rams going to Tennessee, the Eagles going to Wyoming, Texans going to Alabama, not too far from home for the Commanders, they're going to Delaware, the Ravens to North Carolina, the Buccaneers to Illinois, the Chargers to Nevada, the Packers to Florida, the Chiefs are staying put in Missouri, and the Broncos to Mississippi, and then the Steelers to Massachusetts, and I think this is the last one, the Bills to Vermont. So this will be today's starting map for NFL playoff imperialism. I think this is much more balanced. Even though a lot of teams still share borders, I wanted every single team to have an expansion possibility, and I also didn't want teams sharing states for today's video. Now you might notice every single team has a number next to their logo. What does that mean? That is their league seeding. I wanted to incentivize home games in the playoffs for higher seeded teams. Usually in imperialism, the team that gets landed on is the defending team, the team that gets the home game. Not going to work like that today, however, as if the Lions being the #1 seed in the NFL, they would always get a home game no matter who they play. But the Buccaneers, the 14th seed in league conference standings, they're going to have to be road warriors if they want to make it to the Super Bowl today. Now, as always, if you beat a team, you get their best player, and for expansions, when you get one, you get to add the best player in the free agent pool. And the free agent pool is really good today because 18 total teams are already eliminated, so every single player in those teams are going to be in the free agent pool to start. So now you understand why I wanted every team to have an expansion possibility today. Going even further in expansions, let's talk about power-ups, as we have 10 of them today. Afterlife Clone, Double Trouble Bandit, Rewind and Evolved, and then Bloom, Juiced, Prisoner of War, and Magnet. So this is a pair generator. We have every single power-up in this list right here, and then every single unclaimed state in this list right here. I'm going to generate combinations where these power-ups are going to go to random states, and this now assigns our 10 power-ups to 10 random states in today's episode. And now all 10 power-ups have place. I can't guarantee you that every single one will be in use today, but I can tell you this, that NFL playoff imperialism begins now. So here's our first turn today. More than likely going to be an expansion, which is going to be very strong for this selected team, which is the Detroit Lions. They're already the #1 seeded team in the nation. Are they going to get stronger? Yes, they will, as this era goes into Montana, giving us our first of many expansions today. If I'm the 4-seeded Eagles, I gotta be a little nervous. And with that, the very first expansion pickup today will be Micah Parsons, much needed defensive line help for the Lions. The rich get richer. Next up, we'll have the other NFC North superpower, the Minnesota Vikings. As long as they get nothing going towards the East Coast, then they're in the clear of an expansion. This will strike through the panhandle of Oklahoma, giving the Minnesota Vikings an expansion, in which they'll also be getting some defensive help as they'll add Myles Garrett. As if those teams couldn't get any better, now we have the Washington Commanders. They share no borders with anyone, so this is an automatic expansion. However, they got a little lucky with this one, as their arrow goes dead up north from the center of Delaware, goes into New Jersey, holding the clone power up. And so now the Commanders will get to own a second land area, as we're going to spin a randomizer wheel for another state they're going to occupy. So there's a total of 22 unclaimed states the Commanders can put a clone territory on, and that's going to the state of Nebraska. So now the Commanders have opened a second territory in the middle of no man's land. They share the borders with the Chiefs, Eagles, and Vikings. Not a good look. However, it still acts as a second life, which means they have 2 chances today, and they'll only attack from their first land until they're eliminated from their first land. And on top of all of that, the Commanders also get an expansion pickup, which is the best receiver not in the playoffs, Jamar Chase. Low-key, I could have just said the best receiver in the NFL, but we're going to the 14th-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Would be an absolute shame if this is the first team to go, but it would make sense. Well, how unfortunate is this for both sides of the football? I mean, the Buccaneers weren't getting a home game anyways, but the Chiefs, I mean, they have a first-round bye. Not today. It comes down to Baker Mayfield against Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. So how will Black Magic bail out the Chiefs in today's game? They're down by 3 points. There goes to Travis Kelce to the 45. Baker Mayfield could definitely be getting this football back. Hand off to Isaiah Pacheco, back in the lineup. Great run as he's already in Buccaneers territory to the 33. Could be the final play before the 2-minute warning. Gets a crosser, and 3rd and short. Kansas City now has control of the clock. It's a 3rd down pass. It's going to be incomplete. What do they do here? So Andy Reid sends out Harrison Butker to tie the game up with 2 minutes remaining and 3 timeouts for Baker Mayfield to cook. 3rd down and 1 for Baker Mayfield. He's passing, but he gets a first down to Mike Evans, Mr. 1,000 yards to the 47. Don't know why both these teams think it's illegal to run on 3rd down and 1, but now the Buccaneers are marching. This game is completely turned upside down. The Buccaneers just need about 10 more yards, which they're gonna get right here. Timeout of the 34. And now Tampa has pushed possession all the way to the 9 to kick a game-winning field goal against the Kansas City Chiefs, whose normally a different breed in the playoffs, but not today. What an upset we have to begin playoff imperialism. The number 14 seeded Buccaneers beat the number 2 seeded Chiefs. Honestly, I can't call it too far-fetched because the way the Chiefs have been playing games this year, this is definitely a possibility against anyone. To be fair, the Buccaneers have been on a streak to end the season, and now they're adding Travis Kelce to the tight end group. Well, this is already super unrealistic considering the number 1 seeded team, the AFC with a bye, gets eliminated first. Not like NFL teams fighting on a United States map was very realistic in the first place. I mean, hey, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. Will that happen? Probably not, but here's the Ravens. Starting from North Carolina, they go down to South Carolina. So that's already expansion number 4 today, and that's gonna gift the Ravens with Chris Jones, who literally just got eliminated last game. Solid addition for a heavy favorite today. Here's the Houston Texans, which I have no faith in at all. Maybe that's just me hating, but they did end their season on a bad note as they're going south. Unfortunately for the Texans' favor, the Florida Panhandle exists, owned by the Green Bay Packers. So yes, the Packers, the 7th seed in the NFC, are actually getting a home game today. They rank 8th in the league over the 11th Texans. Let's go to Lambeau. This is a rematch from earlier on this season with a Brandon McManus game-winning field goal won for the Green Bay Packers. Different story here today as the Texans wide open touchdown to Dalton Schultz. They'll take a 7-point lead in a shootout, 35-28. From the 39, throw it up to Romeo Doubs for a first down. Third and short, third down and 4, and they get the first down. The Jaden Reed run after the catch gets him to the 5-yard line. Haven't seen a whole lot of Josh Jacobs on this drive, not as much as we need to, and Tucker Kraft gets us to the 1. I'd say now's a good time to hand the football off. I guess not. Jordan Love's going to take it himself, and he has the equalizer. Extra point ties it at 35. Well, can the Texans tie it up before we get to overtime? If there even is going to be an overtime, how about this first down catch with the 46 in Green Bay's territory? We saw Green Bay's defense do the exact same thing against the Chicago Bears in Week 18. Can the Texans get a field goal on the board? Running the football with Joe Mixon. Look at this gap as he's already to the 22-yard line. A game-winning kick is inevitable. It seems whoever has the ball last wins today, as this will be a game-winning kick for the Houston Texans. A little taste of the own poison that hit them earlier on in the NFL season as the Texans win 38-35. This will reward Houston with all-pro safety Xavier McKinney. Also, it seems pretty apparent that home field advantage does not matter today. That's usually a big difference in playoff games in the NFL. Well, down goes my Green Bay Packers, but to be fair, I don't have much hope they make it past the wild card round anyways. Next up is the Buccaneers once more. I'm sure this time they'll land on an expansion, which they probably will. It hits Northern Indiana, which now means the Buccaneers share a border with 3 power-ups. They have a legitimate shot today. And it seems like Tampa's trying to reassemble their 2020 Super Bowl champion defense as they're adding Fred Warner. Great moves by Tampa so far. Will it be enough to win the Super Bowl as we're going to Los Angeles? Well, not exactly, because they're in Tennessee as they're going northeast. Well, this just might be one of the most interesting arrows of all time because they completely missed Kentucky, which had a power-up. Instead, they're going into Virginia, which means they'll block off the Ravens from getting an expansion up north. This is an absolutely goofy-looking territory. But you know what? You can't complain about an expansion because they're going to pick up Nick Bosa. Kinda sucks for the Ravens because now they have to go past the Rams if they want to move any further north. Here's the Bills. The Bills are starting in Vermont, which is not too far from home at all. Well, it seems to me they'll be going home as they'll get an expansion to New York, their home state. On top of that, getting the evolved power-up. And this power-up is pretty strong for the Buffalo Bills. It's going to take their very worst players, their bottom 2 players, and convert them to the overall of their best player. So if we look at the Buffalo Bills right now, their best player, of course, is Josh Allen, who is a 98 overall. So I'm going to go and sort this by overall. The very worst 2 players in this team will also become a 98 overall. That's going to be Reed Ferguson, the tight end, who's probably like a long snapper. And then we're not going to count backup quarterbacks or anyone on IR. We can't do that anyways. So next up is left tackle Ryan Van DeMark. So now if you look at the Bills, we have 3 players at 98 overall. Josh Allen was already there, but now you add left tackle Ryan Van DeMark, and then you have Reed Ferguson, the tight end. And then on top of all of that, they still get an expansion player, which is finally going to be Tyreek Hill, who's only a 96 overall in Madden. I think it's safe to say that was the best spin we had today for the Buffalo Bills, but now let's go to the Denver Broncos. I already know the Broncos are going to get expansion here. I can just feel it. I mean, what can I say? It's in their DNA, and now they're getting an expansion to Arkansas. And so Denver saw the Bills getting a 98 overall tight end of their own, so they answered back by getting 98 overall George Kittle. This episode was made for the Denver Broncos. There are expansions everywhere. Minnesota Vikings are up next again. They got expansions everywhere as well. Will they get one of them? Ooh, it's gonna be close. And by a matter of about 20 pixels, the Minnesota Vikings missed out on the Afterlife power-up in Texas, and instead will have to play the Denver Broncos, who literally just expanded to Arkansas, which the Vikings just landed on. The good news here for Minnesota, however, is that in the actual playoffs, they didn't get a home game because they didn't win their division. Whether the 3-seeded team in the league, they're getting a home game against the 10-seed Denver Broncos. Been a very low-scoring game here in Minneapolis, but looks like the Broncos still have a chance. This goes to George Kittle, the new acquisition. They're down by 8 points. That first down catch gets them really close to the red zone. 21-yard line, diving catch to the 5, first and goal. One more play before the 2-minute warning. Bo Nix, end zone, touchdown. Now they need 2 more. This essentially decides the game if they don't get this. Good pressure for the Vikings. Bo Nix drops all the way back. Can he run for it? Not even close. And he's going to get taken down. It's going to remain a 2-point difference. Good decision to kick this normally. It has to hit the end zone, however, because they don't want them to run out the 2-minute warning, and not good. Okay, so now the Broncos are going to have to get a stop here. First play, handoff to Aaron Jones. Can he hit the outside? He will, and he will pick up the first down. So the Vikings will get it done. However, if they want to win more games, they're going to have to put up more points than 14. And the Vikings have been one of the best teams in the league this year of forcing turnovers. This is going to help them even more as they add Patrick Surtain. Well, it feels rewarding to finally see a better team seeding-wise win a game, but could we talk about some of these land areas? This just might be the weirdest looking Imperialism yet. And you know what? That's completely fair anyways, because I don't see the Broncos making it past the wild card round as well. We'll go to the Commanders. Remember, we're still attacking from their main area, which is in Delaware. This is another automatic expansion. Just depends what it is closer to. Well, going from the middle of Delaware, this actually hits Maryland, and now I can finally fit their logo inside this landmass. But now the Commanders will take over George Kittle after his short-lived tenure in Denver. So more free expansions for the Commanders. Let's go to the Ravens. Remember, they're now blocked off from the north. They still have an expansion possibility, but it's going north. It's still going to be a home game for the Baltimore Ravens, but the Rams have been red hot recently. Let's see if they can get a so-called upset win. I tried to warn the Ravens. The Rams are a team you do not want to mess with right now. They're going to pass the football. Interesting decision for Matthew Stafford going long for Cooper Kupp. No, that's Puka Nacua, but it's incomplete. They could have burned up some more time, but instead they're still passing the football. Interesting, and they're staying in the flat to Kyron Williams, and he gets tackled in bounds for a 3rd and long. Not the greatest management of plays by Sean McVay. Well, it comes down to a 3rd down and 9 if the Ravens are get the football back or not, and caught. Oh my goodness, it could be a touchdown as well for Robinson, and the Rams are up 2 scores. And there will be no response from Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. The Rams, another upset today. Down goes Baltimore. And now the Rams are going to add 99 overall, Derrick Henry. So interesting, both teams that made the AFC Championship last year already eliminated from contention to the Super Bowl today. I already know that Lamar Jackson haters got a lot to say about this performance. And this will bring us down to the top 10 teams still in Super Bowl contention. I'd surely like to hope Lamar Jackson wins at least one playoff game this year. After all, he is playing the wild card Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's go to the Commanders again. Thankfully, this is the first time I get to say this. This is not an automatic expansion. There's a chance it lands on the Rams here, and it's going to be really close. So remember, I'm going from the middle of Delaware because I still haven't put their logo in their land yet. But that goes right into Virginia anyways. So yes, the Rams are playing back-to-back games, and they have to be on the road once again against the Commanders, who have 2 lives as well. Well, it's a 2-score victory for the LA Rams, back-to-back wins, and the Commanders, they drop here. They're not eliminated. They will, however, lose Jamar Chase, who's going to the Rams, in which the Rams are starting to creep up the East Coast. They're going to take over the Commanders' territory. But like I said, they're not eliminated because the Commanders' clone territory is now their main territory. And if they couldn't beat the Rams, then I don't see them having a chance against the number 3 Vikings and number 4 Eagles. And just so it's not confusing, I changed the Bills' territory to be red instead of blue because they shared a border with the Rams now. And with all that out of the way, we still remain at 10 teams. So how about the number 12 Rams? They beat both the 6-seeded team and the 7-seeded team, and now we finally have the LA Chargers for the first time today. Can the other Los Angeles team look as impressive as the Rams? We'll figure out right now. Their first move today will be getting an expansion to Utah, getting them closer to the magnet power-up, and so the other LA team will be getting some much-needed receiver help as they're going to add CeeDee Lamb. They're going to need all the help they can get because they share a border with the Lions and the Eagles. But next up, thank the Lord it wasn't the Commanders again. The Texans are back on conquest. Where are they going? They're going west. Well, there's no other option than the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, the Vikings getting another home game. They're getting kind of lucky with their matchups, and they're going to play the 11-seed Texans. Well, good news, the Vikings heard me when I said they need to score more than 14 points. Bad news, they've only scored 5 more points than that, as the Texans can get a field goal, tie this game up at 19 apiece. Well, the Vikings are still looking to hold them to a field goal, however. 3rd down and 12. Good defensive play by Harrison Smith, and this is going to be 19-19 after a field goal kick. Jeremy Fairbairn to tie this game up at 19. Now Minnesota has a minute and 16 to respond. Minnesota's content with as much time as bleeding as possible as long as they can put 3 on the board. Darnold, this is where he doesn't look so good, is when he takes pressure and he goes down for a loss of 13 yards. So we're going to overtime here in Minneapolis. If they can't get this first down, then they're putting themselves in jeopardy. The Vikings would only need 3 points. CJ Stroud looks like he's just playing the field possession game. He picks up 7 on his legs, and they're punting the football. Redemption drive for the Vikings. Sam Darnold gonna drop back in the play action. He wants to run himself as well. He picks up the first down to the 40. 15 to 20 yards should do the trick. Sam Darnold to TJ Hawkinson, incomplete, 4th and 3. And this will once again open the door for the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud launches it down for the first pass. Nico Collins catches it in double coverage over Stephon Gilmore as well. I mean, you make more plays like that, you deserve to win this football game. Another 4th and 3. I don't know how many doors we need to open, but now a door's open for the Minnesota Vikings again. Just somebody getting field goal range. I don't care who. Oh my God. And so another door has been opened. 3rd and 9 for CJ Stroud. First down, Dalton Schultz to the 45. And finally, wasting no time, this is where the game-winning kick will be held, and it is good for the Houston Texans. I can finally close the doors that I've been opening this entire game. The Texans win 22-19. So now 99 overall Justin Jefferson's going to Houston. And well, this is pretty shocking. The 11th seed Texans already taken down the Green Bay Packers. Now goodbye to the 3-ranked Minnesota Vikings. It's crazy to say that the 11th seed and the 12th seed have been the most impressive teams today. So it seems like the wildcard teams have a high chance of winning the Super Bowl. Can we say the same about the LA Chargers? Back on the conquest, will they get another expansion before they have to play the Lions? Yes, they will. Which will go back home for the Chargers to California, which my condolences and best wishes to people who live in the LA region. There's been some really bad fires there recently. And so the Chargers now adding Myles Garrett to their defensive line. These are much needed additions if they want to stand a chance against the #1 team. Here's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're usually the first team to go in wildcard weekend, but today they've lasted a little bit longer, only because they have yet to been called on yet. Well, as the rule goes, because we can't put the Steelers logo in their land territory, we go from the middle of the state, and it actually is going to hit New Hampshire first, so this is going to be an expansion, but just barely. And now the Steelers defense will get stronger as they'll add Patrick Surtain. Seems like we're prepping up for a Steelers versus Bills matchup soon, but we're going back to the 14th seed Buccaneers, who have 4 total power-ups on their borders. You would think this is going to hit one of them, and yes, they will, as they head south into Kentucky, and they will get the Prisoner of War power-up. So you'll get to see this in action once the Buccaneers play their next game. Essentially, they get to take a random player from a random team and use them for their next game, but if they win, they cannot keep the player unless it's against the team they just beat. So now the Buccaneers have 2 X factors in the defensive secondary as they're adding Jesse Bates. We'll get to see that in action when the Buccaneers play their next game, but instead we're going to the Eagles. They're just hoping for anything that's not the Lions right now, and they're going southwest. Wow, all this time I've been bamboozled. They were not trying to play the Lions. The Chargers were gearing up to play the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a home game for them, of course, the 4 versus 9. If you can't get this first down, the Eagles just need a field goal. Justin Herbert, look out. He just spikes it towards the ground. It's actually caught, but it's still 4th down and 2, so they're going to have to punt the football. It just takes a field goal for Justin Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. This starts in the flat. Ooh, what a tackle. First down, though. I don't know why Saquon Barkley's not in the backfield, but it doesn't matter because Jalen Hurts passing lights out right now. No Saquon Barkley on the field for 3rd down and 6. Interesting. Anyways, Jalen Hurts, first down. A.J. Brown, field goal range. Take a shot for every time you've seen a game in on a game-winning field goal in overtime today. Here's the Philadelphia Eagles looking to capitalize against the Chargers, winning 16-13. It's good. I hate to say it, LA, but you guys did all that prepping for nothing. Seems like Myles Garrett is today's journeyman. This is his 3rd or 4th team today, I believe. So the 4-seed Eagles are moving on as they should be, but do you know what this sets up? An automatic matchup for the Lions to play the Eagles, unless somehow the Commanders beat them. I don't see that happening anyway. So Lions versus Eagles is a matchup. But hey, we're down to 8 teams, so I guess we can kind of say this is divisional now. I mean, I guess the wild cards are over, even though the Chiefs got eliminated in the wild card, and they're the #1 seed. So I suppose the divisional round is starting now with the Houston Texans. I think they've been today's most surprising team as they continue towards the Northeast. Well, this was on path of hitting the Rams territory until it intercepts with North Georgia for an expansion for the Texans, but looks like we'll be setting up this matchup soon. So the newest Texan will be Jalen Ramsey. Can't believe that we should legitimately be scared of the 11 seed. You know someone I'm not scared of though? But you know what? They could get a power up, so I'm not going to hate on them too much as the Commanders are going south. Well, looks like we're setting up a different matchup than I expected as the Commanders going into Kansas, owned by the Houston Texans, and it's a home game for the Commanders. Let's see if they can get back on track with a win. Tied at 24, CJ Stroud needs 18 yards on 2nd and 18. He goes down the field for a gain of around 7 yards, but the chances of keeping possession is not in their favor. Look for Justin Jefferson or Nico Collins instead. CJ Stroud gets sacked on a blitz. It's 4th and 23, and now Jaden Daniels has a shot. I believe this is the first time I've seen Jaden Daniels on the field today, and probably the last time because he throws a touchdown pass on the very first play to Terry McLaurin to take a 7-point lead. CJ Stroud looking for win number 3. He has Nico Collins and Justin Jefferson to help him. He's got to go it somewhere, and that is a first down to one of them. It's Nico Collins. 2 minutes to go. Handoff. No. Play action from the 10-yard line. CJ Stroud stutter steps and touchdown. touchdown. How did he find a window? There was 4 commanders right there. I mean, seriously, how does a robot see this better than me? Okay, never mind, there was an opening. Well, the question we've been asking since the dawn of time, did they score too early? Time ticks down under 60 seconds. They still have all timeouts like they're the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, but here's a first down to George Kittle. I imagine the Texans would want to start calling some timeouts now. This one goes to Luke McCaffrey. Okay, that's a first down. Glad to see somebody named McCaffrey making a difference in the playoffs, and this is a handoff, and that's going to be a first down. Okay, this game should be over. I mean, my goodness, this Commanders defense just got a train run through him. Brian Robinson just goes in the end zone for 6. I mean, CJ Stroud had to put up Joe Burrow numbers to even have a chance in today's video, but good for the Commanders, I guess. I mean, seriously, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, 81.8 completion. So the Commanders lost Jamar Chase when they lost their first game, but they're getting an LSU receiver back. This time, it's Justin Jefferson. And we're about to see a lot of territory go to new hands. The Commanders from Nebraska to Florida. And 7 of the 14 playoff teams remain, where we're going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will the Steelers actually play a game this time? Ooh, they could be. Not a doubt in my mind. From the center of Massachusetts, it's going right into New York. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills playing the Steelers. Both of them haven't played a game yet, and this one's going to be in Buffalo. I'm going to say this out loud, and hopefully I don't create a jinx, but you know what we haven't seen today? Turnovers. No team has turned over the ball so far late in the fourth quarter. Can Josh Allen be the first? At least I hope not, but he will have a touchdown instead, and they should go for 2 to make this 17-10. You know who it goes to? Reed Ferguson, number 69. He is the tight end who turned into a 98 overall because of the evolved power-up. So going for 2 now to make this a 7-point difference, and easy. 17-10, it goes to Amari Cooper. The Steelers offense would then, no surprise, do a 3-and-out, so they can actually get the football back if they stop Josh Allen here, which they will. No thanks to TJ Watt, his 3rd sack of the game. He's probably carrying the hell out of this team right now. So the Steelers get 88 seconds to get a touchdown on the board with no timeouts. Russell Wilson, and somehow get some yards out of that. Make it 5 yards. They're going to need a whole lot more than that, which they'll get right here to George Pickens, the lifeline of offense on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at the 37. Down to 52 seconds remaining. Russell Wilson, and at the 2-yard line, George Pickens, another catch. They got to hurry up and line up. They get back to the line with 23 seconds. It's probably going to be a 2-yard quick slant unless Russell Wilson fumbles the football. I was asking for a turnover. There it is right there, but the Steelers recover it. They have to get a playoff right now. 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Russell Wilson, stop talking to your offensive line. You need to snap the football. Oh my goodness. And that is how this game concludes. The Buffalo Bills, which I think this exact same thing happened in Buffalo last episode. Like, why do teams suck with a clock against the Bills? You gotta love when a player like TJ Watt has to carry the mess out of the Steelers every single episode, but still ends up losing. Hey, at least he gets to go to a different team every video. I think this is an accurate representation of what's gonna happen in the actual NFL playoffs. The Steelers get bounced in their very first game. And so picking back up with 6 remaining playoff teams, let's go to the Buffalo Bills. They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now in New York, but looks like they might get an expansion. Or better yet, the most unluckiest arrow spin in Imperialism history, as this one goes through New Jersey, and we know this landmass is really weird because the Rams in Tennessee own this land. It's still a home game for the Bills, however. Bills looking to put 7 more on the board. Josh Allen throws a risky pass in the middle of the field for a touchdown, which could have been intercepted if it wasn't for Curtis Samuel to dive for it. 36 to go now, and here's a catch. This is going to be a touchdown to tie this game up at 28. I think that's Justin Jefferson? No, it's Jamar Chase, wrong receiver. And as the story goes, whoever has the ball last will more than likely win this game, as here's a first down for the Bills. I think that's Tyreek Hill. Under 60 seconds, Josh Allen again. This is a first down to Amari Cooper. I think I've seen the same result like 10 times today. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I miss seeing teams like the Panthers, the teams like the Titans, the Giants, and Imperialism. They make it fun because these teams are just way too good at offense. This is about to be the most sky is blue sentence I'm ever going to say, but the playoffs are meant for the best teams. Who's going to be better, however? So it makes sense we're not seeing a lot of bad play today. However, I do want to see some turnovers soon. And so now Derrick Henry be joining the Buffalo Bills. And now introducing one of the weirdest ever land masses in Imperialism. What am I looking at? Great run by the 12-seeded Rams today, but we're going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Could it finally be time to see the Lions versus Eagles? Don't think so. Instead, it's time we finally see another power-up, which is going right down the Colorado for Magnet. So pretty simple. The Magnet power-up is going to allow the Eagles to steal a power-up in possession of a different team. Well, if we look back at the map, there's only one team that could possibly be. That's going to be the Buccaneers, who are the only team to possess a power-up right now, which is going to be Prisoner of War. So we'll be taking that away, and it will now be in possession of the Philadelphia Eagles. And their expansion pickup, his 3rd time on the move today, Patrick Surtain. Like stealing candy from a baby. Good job, Eagles. Here's the Lions. Can we finally just see Lions and Eagles? I've been begging for it this entire video. I think we get it right here. No questions needed. This obviously goes into the Eagles territory, but still going to be a Lions home game. However, before we play the game, we got the Prisoner of War spin to do. So this wheel has the 4 other remaining teams left on the map. Whoever it lands on, the Eagles gonna take a player and borrow him for this next game. They're taking a player from the Buccaneers. So not only do they steal their damn power-up, they're stealing a player as well. Looks like somebody's still mad over their wildcard loss last year. But anyways, the Travis Kelce will go to the Eagles for this game. It comes down to the Lions needing a touchdown, which they'll get at the Sam Laporta to the 48. They have 42 more yards to go. If they can find the end zone, they'll also have to go for 2 to make it a 3-point difference. Sam Laporta again, first down. Under 50 seconds, Dan Campbell refuses to call a timeout. 40 seconds, what are we doing? Still no timeouts called. Under 20 seconds, they still keep on throwing these stupid passes. Are we trying to sell? Man, it sure been nice to have 60 seconds left on the clock. Now this is going to be 4th and 2, and they have to get this. So 4th down and 2. Jared Goff backs up 10 yards from the line of gain. He has all the time in the world to throw this football. Still has not gotten rid of it. Just run for it. Do something. Thank you. First down, and there's 0 seconds. I didn't even look at the clock. Jared Goff wasted the entire clock. This was the worst game ever. I'm debating just scrapping this game and scripting this one. I have never seen a game end that bad. The Lions do not deserve to go any further to the Super Bowl today. So the very first pickup today was Micah Parsons. He's now going to the Eagles. I am completely embarrassed that I'm gonna have to edit and post that to my channel. What kind of number 1 seed is that? So I guess we can call it Championship Sunday. These are our final 4 teams, even though this is not mathematically possible because there's 3 NFC teams. But anyways, it's the Eagles, Commanders, Bucks, and Bills. There are 2 imposters among us. Will it land on one of them here? No, it will not. The Bills are still attacking from New York, but I think they're going to Pennsylvania. Can never complain about a late game expansion, which will give the Bills another X-Factor receiver, this time being Jamar Chase. Next up will be the Washington Commanders. Very surprised this team is still alive as they're going south. Mr. President, a second double life power-up is getting rewarded to the Commanders. And for the second time today, the Commanders will have a second chance, obviously getting the afterlife power-up. And for their expansion, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Commanders now get a 3rd life today. What is this favoritism? Are they the Alabama Crimson Tide? I hope not, but here's the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles will go ahead and play them, and don't think so. I guess they'll just take over Oregon. This will give them Nick Bosa. We might see a lot of this considering we've narrowed it down to 4 teams, but here's the Buccaneers. They actually have a higher chance to be matched up with somebody rather than an expansion, but it's going to be close. Or I can just eat my words, and this is going straight to Iowa for the Bandit power-up, which will be one of the strongest power-ups considering it was used so late. They're going to get still 2 random players from 2 randomly selected teams that still remain. There's only 3 other teams left. So yeah, here's their options. Like I said, these are obviously going to be really good players. They're going to take a player from the Commanders to begin with. That's going to be Justin Jefferson. And one more player still again from the Commanders. Oh my goodness. I guess just take away both their star receivers. Not like you even need Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then we're going to be nice to Baker Mayfield for their expansion pickup, giving them some protection with 99 overall Trent Williams. What a power-up, especially this late in the episode. Now, can we finally get a matchup? The Buccaneers again. I don't think they'll be as lucky this time as they're going south. Well, they almost got away with it, but instead they're forced to play the Buffalo Bills on the road. They've been gearing up this entire episode. Let's see if they can pull off one more upset as well. With all the X factors these teams have on offense, I'm surprised this is a defensive game right now, but I guess not anymore as Tyreek Hill gets in the end zone the first time I'm started speaking, and it's going to be 17-13 Bills lead. Nothing we haven't seen before at all today, just needing another touchdown drive to end this game. Mayfield starts with a first down pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown. 3 X factor wide receivers, by the way, so somebody's got to be open, including whoever this is right here. First down to the 37, Justin Jefferson. Make it 4 because I didn't count Travis Kelce. Baker Mayfield intercepted. Finally, a turnover. I've been asking for it all day. And of course it comes in the hands of Baker Mayfield, who threw almost the most interceptions this year in the NFL. Faking the handoff. Gonna pass on 3rd and 2. No, Josh Allen's gonna take off himself. First down. The Bills will win. It's a final score of 17-13. I mean, at this point, it's just an arms race to see who can build the best receiving room. It was a great run by our 14 seed Buccaneers, but to be honest, is a 14 seed team in the NFL ever gonna win a Super Bowl? Probably not. All right, good job, guys. We voted out 1 imposter. We have 1 remaining. Will it land on them? Yes, it will. The Commanders are right in the middle of everything, and they're going east. So we have arrived at the matchup between the Commanders and the Bills, which will be in Buffalo. Again, the Commanders have an insurance. They have more insurance than people's houses that burned down in California. So 2 tries for Jaden Daniels. Let's see if they can take down a powerhouse. This game could be over quickly if the Bills can find the end zone. If not, it's 3rd and goal. They'd be forced to kick a field goal. It's a quick slant to Derrick Henry, and he is in for a touchdown. It's going to be a 2-score game. A little bit of a late game scare here. They just need a first down. Okay, we're good. So the Bills will get it done 33-30, and this will fill 1 weak spot in the Bills roster, the cornerback position. They're going to get Marshawn Lattimore. And for the second time today, under the Commanders' fortune, this means absolutely nothing in territory change. The Commanders, I imagine, is going to be the first team in Imperialism history to lose 3 games in 1 episode. They've essentially lost all their players too, so I wish my best condolences to the Commanders, and they're getting landed on again as well. Will we see Commanders Bills 2.0, or will we go the other direction? Well, the Commanders are getting 2-piece comboed right now, and to make it even worse, they have to play the Philadelphia Eagles, who of course have the prisoner of war, and and they get to steal a player from one of these two teams. It could very well land on the Commanders as well. Okay, this is just bullying at this point. Well, this is the second time the Eagles have stolen a tight end using the prisoner of war, and this one hurts the Commanders big time. Unfortunately for the Commanders, they just did not stand a chance after they lost all those players. They are worse than they are in real life with the roster they have today. And of course, the Eagles will just keep the prisoner of war as their player steal, so George Kittle. And war is finally over. We don't have to see the Commanders in the land anymore because they kind of made it a little too far. I sound like a complete D1 hater, but they were kind of gift wrapped to double life power-ups, but at least they made it to third place. Gotta give them some credit. So that will leave us with our Super Bowl matchup according to NFL Imperialism. Kind of fitting too. Now, as you might imagine, this game will be played in, of course, New Orleans as the Super Bowl, so home and away does not matter for this game, but we will keep spinning some arrows just in case we won't have any more expansions. We still have 4 power-ups on the map. Probably won't see any of them though. So just for confirmation that we land on somebody the Eagles are going to be attacking. No, they will not. Seems like they're already prepared enough. So these are the finalized rosters for the finalized game. The Super Bowl. It's the Eagles and the Bills. I almost forgot about this because it's the final game, but the prisoner of war is still in effect, which means one final player steal, and of course the only team you can steal from is the Bills. Justin Jefferson is going to the Eagles for the last game. Gotta love Imperialism. The way to get here is insane, but at least it gives us a somewhat reasonable Super Bowl matchup in which Josh Allen needs a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Here's an interception. Oh my goodness. I've been asking for interceptions all day, and you throw it on the first pass in the Super Bowl that I just watched. Intended for his new 90th overall tight end, CJ Gardner-Johnson jumps in front of it, and this game might be over sooner than I thought. They can still force a 3-and-out, and they have the 2-minute warning unless Saquon Barkley runs it down their throats. A 7-yard pickup's not ideal. If I'm the Bills in real life, I'm putting 10 at the line because they're probably going to tush push or run this. Saquon Barkley, and it's close. Oh, they gave him the first down. Well, I was hoping to see the Bills put up more of a fight, but instead we got the most anticlimactic finish ever. But you know, I wouldn't necessarily count out the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl this year. This definitely could make sense. Devontae Smith wins Super Bowl MVP. Interesting. And so according to Madden 25, the Eagles will be the Super Bowl 59 champions. So let's go and reflect that on the United States map. So the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. I don't know if we can afford another city being burned down. Well, that's kind of all I got today. I was planning on doing a playoff prediction in this video as well, but I'm kind of running short on time because the playoffs are going to start in like 2 hours from the upload time. But that does not matter anyways because the Green Bay Packers will be lifting the Lombardi in 29 days. All Diddy, no oil. Now don't worry, the next video is not going to be Imperialism. I've already milked it dry enough. We'll have to wait a little bit longer for the final one of the season. It's going to be NFL Worldwide Edition again. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.